योर वोट योर चॉइस प्रोग्राम ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪ ਸਭ ਦਰਸ਼ਕਾਂ ਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ-ਬਹੁਤ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਔਰ ਪਿਛਲੇ ਕੁਝ ਦਿਨਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਲਗਾਤਾਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਨਵੇਂ ਤੋਂ ਨਵੇਂ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟਸ ਨਾਲ ਮਿਲਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ 21 ਅਕਤੂਬਰ ਨੂੰ ਸਾਡੇ ਇਸ ਮੁਲਕ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੋਟਾਂ ਪੈਣ ਜਾ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਔਰ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਪਾਰਟੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਆਲਮੋਸਟ ਆਪਣੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਉਮੀਦਵਾਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਐਲਾਨ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਆ ਬ੍ਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਦੀਆਂ 5 ਰਾਈਡਿੰਗਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਡਾ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਇੰਟਰਸਟ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਵੀ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਬਹੁਤੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਉਮੀਦਵਾਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਰਾਈਡਿੰਗਸ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਖ-ਵੱਖ ਪਾਰਟੀਆਂ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਖੜੇ ਆ ਪਰ ਕੁਝ ਪਾਰਟੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਉਮੀਦਵਾਰ ਕੁਝ ਹੋਰ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀਜ਼ ਤੋਂ ਵੀ ਖੜੇ ਕੀਤੇ ਆ ਅੱਜ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਇੱਕ ਪਾਸੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਐਨਡੀਪੀ ਦੇ ਬ੍ਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਵੈਸਟ ਰਾਈਡਿੰਗ ਤੋਂ ਨਵਜੀਤ ਹੋਰੀ ਉਮੀਦਵਾਰ ਹੈ ਨਵਜੀਤ ਕੌਰ ਹੋਰੀ ਉਹ ਉਮੀਦਵਾਰ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ ਵਿੱਚ ਨੇ ਔਰ ਦੂਜੇ ਪਾਸੇ ਮਲੀਸਾ ਐਡਵਰਡਸ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਬ੍ਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਨਾਰਥ ਤੋਂ ਐਨਡੀਪੀ ਦੇ ਉਮੀਦਵਾਰ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ ਵਿੱਚ ਨੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੋਨਾਂ ਉਮੀਦਵਾਰਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਮਿਲਾਉਣ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਕਰਾਈਏ ਨਵਜੀਤ ਨਾਲ ਜੀ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਤੇ ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਪਾਜੀ ਫॉर ਹੈਵਿੰਗ ਔਨ ਦ ਸ਼ੋ ਇਟਸ ਅਮੇਜ਼ਿੰਗ ਟੂ ਬੀ ਹੇਅਰ ਤੇ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ
welcome to studio
thank you so much
and we have Melissa Edward Melissa you are also welcome in the studio
ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਜੀ thank you so much for having me
okay so ਅਸੀਂ ਅੱਜ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੋਨੋਂ ਉਮੀਦਵਾਰਾਂ ਦੀ ਜਾਣ ਪਛਾਣ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਪਿਛੋਕੜ ਬਾਰੇ ਜਾਣਨ ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਇਹ ਕਿਉਂ ਰਾਜਨੀਤੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਏ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਕੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਫਾਈਲ ਹੈ ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਨਵਜੀਤ I know you are respiratory therapist
ਹਾਂਜੀ
so you are already working in the health sector for a long time but what inspired you to come into politics and particularly joining NDP
ਹਾਂਜੀ you know I'm happily married I have 2 little children ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਛੋਟੀ ਬੱਚੀ ਆ ਉਹ ਬਿਮਾਰ ਬਹੁਤ ਛੇਤੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ she has lung issues that you know it's hard for her to breathe ਇਸ ਸਾਲ ਆਪਾਂ 5 ਵਾਰੀ ਬ੍ਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਸਿਵਿਕ ਹਸਪਤਾਲ ਗਏ ਆ ਤੇ ਆਪਾਂ 8-9 ਘੰਟੇ ਵੇਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਹੁਣ ਐਜ਼ ਅ ਮਦਰ ਐਜ਼ ਯਰ ਫਾਦਰ ਐਨੀ ਕੋਈ ਪੇਰੈਂਟ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਜੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਫਰ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਆ ਯੂ نو ਇਟਸ ਵੈਰੀ ਹਾਰਡ ਟੂ ਫਾਈਂਡ ਦੈਟ ਯੂ ਕੈਨਟ ਡੂ ਐਨੀਥਿੰਗ ਅਬਾਊਟ ਇਟ they're suffering you know they're not being able to breathe and you're waiting 8 to 9 hours ਹੁਣ ਜਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਬੈਠੋ ਦੇਖੀ ਜਾਓ ਕੋਈ ਆਊਗਾ ਆਪਣੀ ਮਦਦ ਕਰਨ ਜਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹੁਣ ਖੜੋ and be the change ਇਸ ਲਈ ਮੈਂ NDP ਨਾਲ decide ਕੀਤਾ run ਕਰਨ ਲਈ
okay so you are saying that you are finding some issues crises shortcomings in the healthcare industry healthcare sector and that motivated you to come forward
ਹਾਂਜੀ like thing is the face of politicians we want to change the face of politicians ਹੁਣ ਆਮ ਬੰਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਮ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜੇ problems ਆਉਂਦੇ ਆ I felt them ਹੁਣ ਜਾਂ ਪਰ like again ਜਾਂ ਪਰ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਰਹਿ ਗਏ ਜਾਂ ਪਰ ਉੱਠ ਕੇ ਆਪਾਂ change ਕਰੀਏ and that's what motivated me because I'm living in Brampton I was born and raised here you know I've been growing up and seeing the changes that we've been getting and thing is now we need a change we have a healthcare crisis and there's so many other issues that we need to talk
about. We'll talk about all those issues later on.
Exactly.
Melissa, what inspired you to join NDP and tell us more about your profile.
I'm a long-time community organizer. I've been involved with the party for many years.
Okay.
Jack Layton first brought me to the party, and now Jagmeet Singh is doing wonderful things for the party with a bold plan, and we're very excited to share this plan with all Canadians. The main reason why I put my hand in the ring to run is because of our housing crisis.
Okay.
I've been born and raised in Brampton and a lot of people are telling me they don't have access to housing. A lot of people are telling me they can't afford a house and this shouldn't be in Canada. So I'm so happy to stand up and put forward our bold new plan for affordable housing right across Canada.
Will you share that plan with us a little bit more in detail?
Of course. So our plan is to build 500,000 homes right across Canada, and we will also extend the 30-year. Well, we're going to change it to reintroduce the 30-year mortgage. So first-time buyers are actually able to purchase their first home because right now it's out of reach. The down payment is very large, and we need to make that more within reach for all Canadians.
Okay. Navjeet, talking about healthcare crisis, Brampton is rapidly, fastly growing city. We all know that. We have only one hospital. Jagmeet announced right after the announcement of elections in Canada that when he came to Brampton that he will fight for another hospital. Hospital more or less is a provincial issue So what do you think, how NDP or Jagmeet can contribute to bring another hospital in Brampton?
Yeah, no, definitely that's a great question. It is definitely provincial, but it's also federal. So at the federal level, we do provide the funding and allocate the funds for a hospital. Jagmeet Singh has been an MPP. He has been an MP. He understands the structures and the ways of getting a new hospital, and we have to work with the provincial government to get the hospital. He just announced that we're getting the new hospital, and we're going to be expanding Peel Memorial Healthcare Center too, and that's amazing.
Okay. Melissa, you were talking about affordable housing. Brampton is a crowded city now. We all know that. We have tons of international students who are living here. We welcome those international students here, of course, but where are the affordability for those people, and particularly newcomers coming here? Any plan for that?
Of course, we have a very bold plan that we're putting forward. With our newcomers and with our students, it's not their fault. It's the fault of our past governments. The Liberals and the Conservatives have done nothing to address the healthcare crisis as well as the housing crisis. We are already in a housing crisis. Once we build more affordable housing, then we have more housing available within the market for all Canadians.
Okay, and right now we see there's a big demand for a university in Brampton. So of course we welcome that. We are all fighting for that. Once we have a university, full-fledged university in Brampton, which is already overcrowded, people coming from all over the place to study in that university, I don't know how we will accommodate them also.
And we are fighting for a university right here in Brampton as well. It's one of our top concerns. We are going to also be integrating the public university and post-secondary school within our public system, so then Canadians won't have to pay for post-secondary education. And we are also taking a strong look at our infrastructure, because right now we need the infrastructure in place to house a university, and then we won't have any issues regarding housing and more students coming in our wonderful city.
Okay, NDP is already representing Brampton North at the provincial level. It's a very diverse riding we have in Brampton. You must be going to meet people knocking at the doors. So what are you listening from them? What are their issues, if you have to prioritize 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 issues, top issues?
Our top issues, like Navjeet said, healthcare is our first and foremost, because Brampton Civic Hospital is right in our riding.
Okay.
I recently knocked on the door of a teacher, and she was so sweet. She's retired, but she was letting me know that because she has MS and she's no longer teaching, and she was a teacher for 30 years, she no longer has access to her prescription medication. Her prescription medication for her MS is $1,500 a month.
Okay.
She said, Melissa, I can't afford it, so now I'm not taking it at all. So she's gone from not being able to walk to being able to walk, but now that she's not able to take that prescription medication, she's just kind of hoping and praying for the best, which isn't right. We shouldn't have to choose between paying for our rent and paying for a prescription medication.
Yeah, so basically you're saying health issue is the number one top issue. What others?
Our senior care, and our
Okay.
senior care is also within our healthcare, because once Jagmeet builds a new hospital right here for Brampton, and as well as provide additional funding for Peel Memorial Urgent Care, that will alleviate the pressures on Brampton Civic Hospital, as well as provide beds for our seniors.
Okay. नवजीत ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹੋਵੋਗੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਰਾਈਡਿੰਗ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮਿਲੇ ਹੋਵੋਗੇ
ਹਾਂਜੀ।
ਹੁਣ ਤੱਕ ਕਾਫੀ ਡੋਰ ਨੌਕਸ ਕੀਤੇ ਹੋਣਗੇ ਡੋਰ ਨੌਕਿੰਗ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੋਵੇਗੀ ਸੋ ਫਾਰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਇਸ concern ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਇਸ਼ੂਜ਼ ਆ ਰਹੇ
Hanji, definitely. We have healthcare crisis. We have the housing crisis. We have climate change. That's targeted more towards our younger people. They're, looking at their futures and they're thinking, what are we going to do? And those are the 3 top ones we have. And there's affordability. Now, when we knock on doors, people are talking about, are we going to be able to find good quality jobs? Everyone says we have so many, they're bringing in so many good jobs in Canada, but where are the jobs in Brampton? People can't find good quality jobs. Half the Canadians live paycheck to paycheck, trying to make ends meet. And this economy is not working for everyday Canadians. And like the Liberals, they have left They have left workers to cope with wages that aren't growing, and they've given big tax breaks to the big and powerful corporations. And now NDP has a plan to create 300,000 jobs by investing in new technology. And climate change is our future. We have to really think about that. We're going to be, making sure we have more zero-emission vehicles on the road. We're going to be retrofitting homes. So that's going to be solar panels. Those are going to be thicker windows. So we're going to save more energy in the future. And we're also going to make sure that we're going to have non-renewable resources. We're going to transition that into renewable resources to have a greener and cleaner future.
There's a big, right now, there's a big rally going on all over the place, and thousands and thousands of people are participating in those rallies. So I believe climate change has become one of the major issues in Canadian election this time. And Jagmeet, NDP, even Liberal and Green Party, they are all agreed on this issue. But it's unfortunate that Mr. Andrew Scheer and particularly the other party, Canada's People Party of Canada, Maxime Bernier, they're not talking on that and they're not participating in those rallies. So what are those other issues which are related to Bramptonians? We are going to talk about all those issues with both of these candidates, but after the break. ब्रेक तो बाद एक बार फिर तो ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਸਭ ਦਾ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ ਸਾਡਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਹੈ your vote your choice you have to decide to whom you are going to cast your vote on 21st of October. But even that, before that, you can go and vote during the advanced polling, which is starting very soon. After the first week of October, we'll announce all those dates. We'll share those dates with you. But instead of waiting till 21st of October, you can always go ahead and vote. So we are talking to Navjeet Kaur, which is contesting for NDP from Brampton West riding. And we have Melissa Edwards, who is contesting from Brampton North riding for NDP. Melissa, we have a big issue of crime also in Brampton. For the last couple of years, we have seen inflation, rise in shootings, robberies, all kind of criminal activities in Brampton. So any plan for NDP, you think during this election? Is this an issue for NDP?
It is an issue for us, and we also know that race, age, and poverty also contributes to why we have so much crime in Brampton. Jagmeet Singh and the NDP, we're going to invest into the programs and services for our youth.
Okay.
Because that's where we need to improve our services so our youth have an outlet and aren't going back to violence.
So, I mean, again, it's a very complex issue. There are the root cause of this issue somewhere else. So what do you think? Do we have shortage of officers? We are not investing much in our police force. What kind of programs we need so that our youth, we can transform them, we can bring them back on track? So you guys discuss within the party for more of that?
Well, it's more services that kind of the Conservative government provincially has cut.
Yeah.
Those services need to come back so our youth can find jobs. Our youth are able to join a basketball team or join a soccer team and contribute to society.
Yeah.
And then we won't see as much crime happening on our streets.
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਇਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋਗੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਫੋਰਮ ਤੇ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਾਡਾ ਯੂਥ ਹੈ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ particularly Brampton ਦੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ particularly ਜਿਹੜੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ Brampton West riding ਹੈ I have seen many incidents during the last few months particularly in that area Chinguzi, Bogair, Williams Parkway, Bogair, all that falls in your riding from where you are contesting. So what plans you have in mind?
I actually live in the riding, so I understand all the violence that we're seeing here. The thing is, the federal government needs to take responsibility of this issue right now. And again, we need to look at the root cause of violence. Racial discrimination. There's poverty. Lack of available good quality jobs. A lack of affordable housing. So these are the root issues that we need to deal with in order to make sure people are not stealing because they don't have good quality jobs. So if they don't have good quality jobs, they're going to go to other resources and try to make sure they're making a living for their family. So we have to make sure we tackle these issues first. And by tackling these issues, we can provide services, infrastructures, where again, we can have plans for students where they join community clubs and they're more involved in the community and not away from violence. And I think that's the main priority. Long term, this is the best plan. Because if we hit roots of the causes, that will slowly help us decrease the violence.
Okay, talking about health crisis, which we were talking about earlier, if we start planning for a new hospital in Brampton right now, it is going to take 10 to 15 years at least. So there's a long period, and you don't know how much will be population of Brampton by the time. So what can be the immediate solutions, to deal with this health crisis?
No, definitely, that's a great question. Right now, we do have a healthcare crisis in Brampton, and apne log ki struggle kari hunde hai. They, ek hospital hai for 600,000 people, probably even more. ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਲਿਬਰਲ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਆਈ ਸੀ 4 ਸਾਲਾਂ ਸੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਮਿਸ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਹੈਲਥਕੇਅਰ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਫਿਕਸ ਕਰਨਾ ਸੀ ਬਟ ਇਨਸਟੈਡ ਵੀ ਹੈਵ ਬੀਨ ਨੈਗਲੈਕਟਡ ਮੈਂ ਹਸਪਤਾਲ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੀ ਸੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਲਥਕੇਅਰ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸ਼ਨਲਸ ਹੈਗੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ they're trying their best to provide best patient care but they're lacking the funding and support. Obviously getting a hospital in here is the first thing, but immediate relief would be introducing universal pharmacare, so no Canadian has to choose between paying the rent or the medication bill. That's a big issue that we have. When we go door to door, there's a lot of families where maybe they have their own businesses and they don't have those coverages and they can't afford medication. So we need to tackle those issues first, because people who can't afford the medication, they end up back in the hospital, and that causes the overcrowded hallways. And another thing is we need to expand our healthcare services, so covering dental, vision, hearing care. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਲੋਕੀ ਜਦੋਂ ਦੰਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਪੇਨ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਮੋਸਟਲੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਸੀਨੀਅਰਸ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਦੇ ਆ it's okay, I'll go back to my place and I'll get it fixed there instead of because it's too costly here, and it shouldn't be costly here. We're in Canada. It's a great place that everything healthcare should not be an issue here, and those are the first things we want to tackle. NDP is going to ensure and invest in the healthcare services and the well-being of Canadians. We're going to ensure Canadians have the healthcare services that they need.
So working with the community people, what are their issues? What are their demands? How we are a multicultural country. We have a very diverse, communities here in Brampton particularly. So when you work with them, what are those issues which you realize which you face?
Well, housing is a big one for them. Our seniors, their overall care is an issue. A lot of seniors are finding that they may have to sell their home in order to...
Our long-term health care centers are also overcrowded. There's a long waiting list for them also.
Yes, there is, and we will be tackling that. We also hear from our youth. Our youth are finding it very hard to find a summer job or a part-time job. It's just getting harder and harder for all of the residents in Brampton, and we haven't gotten the attention that we need and deserve.
So what about affordable education for the youth? You have any program? NDP has any program?
Yes, Jagmeet Singh and the NDP have an amazing program for that. So our plan is to take the public school system and integrate it with the post-secondary school program. So essentially, all Canadians will have access to college or university for free.
Okay. We have seen lots of young people are attracted towards Jagmeet and particularly NDP. You are also an example of that. So what is inspiring youth, particularly youth, to join NDP?
Definitely, I think what it is that we're seeing a new face of politicians. It's not about just having a seat. It's having a voice and being heard. I think that's really exciting for us, and that's what kind of prompted me to go into politics, because no, it's not just a normal politician. We're going to be something different. We're going to be investing in Canadians, and we're going to have a say. And our generation is so excited that, for once in our life, we can actually have a voice and make a big impact in the world. And I think that's so wonderful, that feeling.
Okay. Recently, Mr. Trudeau was in controversy for blackface, brownface issue. He has personally apologized to Jagmeet. And Jagmeet was, I think, at the forefront to raise that issue at the national level. So this issue has more or less been addressed right now. But you have to say anything on that issue?
I'm just so proud of Jagmeet Singh for the way he handled it. By going to speak with Trudeau personally and keeping that off the records, that just shows you the type of man he is and how much he cares for all Canadians.
Okay. And Navjeet was talking about the climate change issue, big protests, big rallies, all over the country, in different cities, thousands of people are participating. Do you think it's the right time now we should talk about this issue, we should address this issue in our country?
Yes, 100%. We are in a climate emergency. The Liberals said that we're in a climate emergency, and then they spent $4.5 billion on a pipeline. And the Conservatives, as we can see, Andrew Scheer stepping out from any of the parades, doesn't think it exists. And Jagmeet's going to be there in Victoria, and we're going to be joining our team at the City of Brampton to stand up for climate change, because it has to happen. This is all of our planet. It's just not for one person. And as the children are saying, there is no planet B.
Okay, and Jagmeet is a national leader now, no question about that, on his leadership. But he's from Brampton. He started his political career from Brampton. How this is going to help you guys, and are you expecting him anytime soon in Brampton?
Well, right now, I'm so excited that he was from Brampton, and he has a proven track record of helping Bramptonians. And that's really exciting, because this is the root of where he came from, and we're all supporting that and making sure we have that voice. So coming out really strong is important for us, especially for our youth. Making sure, putting politics aside, we want to make sure the issues in Brampton are being heard. That's our number one right now. And I think that's what we need to focus on, that regardless of politics or not, I think our main focus is making sure that we're fixing our healthcare crisis, we're making sure our houses are affordable, we're making sure people have good quality jobs, and making sure Brampton is not left behind. Yeah.
So, दो उम्मीदवारों को ਅਸੀਂ ਅੱਜ ਮਿਲਾਇਆ ਹੈ, ਨਵਜੀਤ ਕੌਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਬ੍ਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਵੈਸਟ ਤੋਂ ਹੈ NDP ਦੇ ਉਮੀਦਵਾਰ, ਔਰ ਮਲੀਸਾ ਐਡਵਰਡਸ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਬ੍ਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਨਾਰਥ ਤੋਂ NDP ਦੇ ਉਮੀਦਵਾਰ ਨੇ। ਪ੍ਰੋਵਿੰਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਜਦੋਂ ਹੋਏ ਸੀ ਉਦੋਂ ਵੀ NDP ਨੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟ ਖੜੇ ਕੀਤੇ ਸੀ, ਕਾਫੀ ਜ਼ਬਰਦਸਤ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਰਿਸਪੌਂਸ ਮਿਲਿਆ ਸੀ ਉਸ ਵੇਲੇ, ਔਰ ਵੀ ਆਲਰੇਡੀ ਹੈਵ 3 MPPs, NDP MPPs from Brampton. Melissa, what do you think? Will you guys be able to repeat that history again in the federal?
Oh, we're going to take all 5 ridings this time. We're going to do better. The orange wave is strong in Brampton, and everybody wants change. That's what we hear at the doors.
Okay. And anything you want to say at the end of the
Definitely. 21 October ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਦੋਂ ballot ਤੇ ਜਾਓਗੇ, you want to vote for a leader and an MP who's in it for you, who is going to be for the Canadians and for Brampton. And we want to make sure there's a leader that's going to understand the needs of Bramptonians and everyday Canadians across this nation. Jagmeet Singh has a proven track record in Brampton, and he has already promised us a hospital that we desperately need. If you want different results, that which we desperately need in Brampton, we need to make different choices, and that choice is Jagmeet Singh and the NDP.
Okay, and your closing remarks, Melissa?
Oh, I'm just so happy to stand with Jagmeet and Team Brampton and represent all Canadians. And we are in it for you, as Jagmeet keeps saying, and we definitely are. We're here fighting for everyday Canadians. And in Team Brampton, you will have a very strong voice in Ottawa.
So, 21 अक्टूबर ਨੂੰ ਵੋਟ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਾਣੀ ਹੈ, your vote, your choice. ਸਾਡੀ ਡਿਊਟੀ ਹੈ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟਸ ਨਾਲ ਮਿਲਾਣਾ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਦੇਣਾ, ਬਟ ਫੈਸਲਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਹੱਥ ਹੈ। Thank you very much for watching this show. Thank you very much.
Sat Shri Akal.